Yo, what is going on, guys? You got Glop, and we are here for week 4 of the Draft Jam. If you guys are not interested in the matchup or team builder section of the video, down in the description you will find a timestamp so that you can jump right into the action. Our opponent for week 4 is fellow captain Ducky, and I gotta say, I really love getting to know this guy over the past couple of weeks. He is a hoot and a holler in the voice calls that we have in the Draft Jam, and I think he has some really dry humor, sarcastic, funny commentary that you guys might enjoy. So his channel is going to be linked down in the description as well. Looking at his team, he's got a roster of Iron Moth, Zapdos, Samurai Hisui, Excadrill, Dragonite, Hoopa Unbound, Sinistcha, Rabombi, Okidogi, and Duuuuuu. Quite a scary offensive roster. Terra captains are going to be the Iron Moth and the Hoopa Unbound. So at first glance, I noticed right away that Iron Moth was going to be a problem for our team. With an appropriate Terra type, it has coverage that threatens either super effective or very strong damage into the majority of our roster, while also being faster than every Pokemon naturally, with the exception of Iron Bundle. Zapdos can also be problematic for us. It can Volt Switch out on our Ceruledge and threaten Landorus with Hurricane, and electric moves are strong into the rest of our roster, so we've got to make sure we account for that. And Dragonite also has a unique type profile that can be very difficult for our team to handle. Once appropriate chip has been gotten onto some of our members, it is quite easy for this Pokemon to find an opportunity to get up a Dragon Dance and potentially clean up our team. That being said, we've got a handful of Pokemon that are strong in this matchup as well. Our Iron Bundle, of course, looks very strong in this matchup. There's really no dedicated specially defensive mon with the exception of maybe Hoopa Unbound with an Assault Vest or Duuuuuu, which we can take advantage of. Our Ceruledge also has an amazing matchup here. Samurai Hisui can complicate things with an Encore set or with Sucker Punch. But outside of that, Ceruledge outspeeds a majority of his team, can threaten them with large damage with moves like Poltergeist, and it can spread burns through Will-O-Wisp. And finally, I think our Florges has a very strong matchup here. It's likely that Iron Moth will be the Terra candidate, and once it terastallizes, he's only got a single Fairy Resist that he can bring, that being the Excadrill, which is a Pokemon that's prone to get worn down through hazards, chip damage, and getting rid of the hazards, as mentioned. With all that being said, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the team builder. Alright guys, and we are here for the team building section. Our first member is going to be Iron Bundle. We're being a little bit greedy this week. We're running a modest nature. We're kind of just ignoring the fact that Rabombi exists, and you might also be noticing, oh my god, Glop, you're not running Choice Scarf. Amazing indeed. We're running the heavy-duty boots. Gonna allow us to get more entry points and ignore things like Stealth Rock and also spikes that are set up by Samurai Hisui so that we can preserve our bulk and use that to leverage more damage onto Ducky's team. Freeze Dry and Hydro Pump are strong offensive moves, and Flip Turn is nice to punish a potential Assault Vest Okidogi or Hoopa Unbound, allow us to reposition. And finally, Encore, gonna be useful to punish any utility or setup moves and reposition and get in more of our attackers. Our next member here is Lando T, and we are running a bulkier set with some speed for defensive Zapdos, but we've also got enough bulk to make sure that we can live 2 modest Hurricanes from full. The idea with this set is to get up rocks as early as possible. That'll get us information on Pokemon like Iron Moth, Dragonite, and potentially Zapdos itself. Rock Tomb is nice to drop the speed of an offensive Zapdos or a Dragonite as it attempts to set up. And Edgequake coverage is strong into basically every Pokemon on his team with the exception of Sinistcha, but we have plenty of ways to punish that. The next member we have here is our Ceruledge, and I like this Pokemon because of the way that it combos with the next team member that we'll get into. Draco Meteors are relatively free into the majority of Ducky's team. This Pokemon can also sort of be a panic check into the Zapdos, but the way I envision this is that we can get up our rocks early, and we can use Draco Meteor to hit the Excadrill upon switching, and then get in one of our attackers, such as the Landorus or the Iron Bundle. We've got dual stab options, and of course we have Body Press to capitalize on any stamina boost that we might get along the way. Our next Pokemon here is Florges, and we're running a Terra Electric set. I have Terra Electric in case the Zapdos proves to be more than I can handle and I need a panic check to have it. We have Choice Scarf to trick onto Excadrill or cripple another Pokemon, but can also just be useful offensively to clean up Ducky's team. We have enough speed to get the jump on Adamant Dragonite with a good amount of special attack, and then we do have bulk so that we can live a +1 Earthquake from full after Stealth Rock and be a better check to the aforementioned Dragonite. We've got Calm Mind to basically capitalize on if we end up tricking the Choice Scarf away and we can get rid of the Excadrill. This Pokemon could be a late game win condition, could go band for band with the Sinistra, for example, and enable us to clean up in an end game situation. Our next Pokemon here is Mandibuzz, just a very straightforward defensive utility piece. Foul Play is nice to punish things like the Dragonite and the Excadrill if they set up attack boosts. U-turn to reposition our attackers. Roost, of course, to keep ourselves healthy, and Defog is nice to clear the field of the spikes that Samurott might set. We're running heavy-duty boots so that we're not as pressured by Stealth Rock if that goes up, and that way we can get more entry points and more reliably check Pokemon like the aforementioned Excadrill and the Dragonite. We've also got a decent amount of special defense investment, and that'll just help us take hits better from the Hoopa Unbound if it's a specially offensive set. And we're running negative speed IVs. And the purpose of this is so that we actually underslow the Sinistra and can U-turn and react to what it decides to go for. Overcoat, of course, is going to give us immunity to Stun Spore from Sinistra, and Mandibuzz naturally resists the dual stabs of that Pokemon, so we really shouldn't have to worry about Sinistra as the game progresses. Our final Pokemon is Terra Ghost Ceruledge. And Terra Ghost is just here to up the image of Poltergeist, but also more importantly, the Shadow Sneak. A lot of Ducky's team can be frail offensive threats, and so having the stronger Shadow Sneak is really nice to pick off a low health Excadrill, a low health Iron Moth, or a Dragonite that has already had its multi-scale popped. And we are actually running a Jolly nature on this Pokemon with enough speed to outspeed max speed Dragonite. And the idea with this is that we can catch Dragonite, Okidogi, and maybe even an adamant Excadrill with our final move on the set being the Will-O-Wisp, essentially crippling them and not allowing them to get off their sweep. Poltergeist in close combat is strong neutral coverage into all of Ducky's roster, and then of course, like I said, Shadow Sneak going to be there for insurance versus those fast attackers. We're opting to use Flash Fire because I don't think that weak armor is going to make a significant difference, whereas maintaining the fire immunity versus Iron Moth could be very useful. Finally, before we get into the match, I'd like to give a couple thank yous to the people who mocked us this week. This week, I would like to personally thank Sub-Zero, Queen Addison, and Who for giving us mock support. With all the formalities out of the way, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the battle. Yo, what is up, guys? You got Glop from the future. So I did feel compelled to make a quick editor's note as we get into this match. This game was streamed live to the Draft Jam Discord server in the voice call, and this was my first time doing this, so unbeknownst to me, on the side, I had a different match that was happening live pulled up in a separate tab. And so for the first 4 minutes of the match, I want to say, you're going to hear some sounds from another battle. I do apologize for that. It's not super distracting, but chances are you will notice it. That being said, after about 4 minutes, I recognize it mid-battle, and so I just cut it off, and you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the video. So I do apologize. With that being said, guys, enjoy the battle. I guess we're going with that Nemona too. Terra Water Moth. Okay. Bro, I saw that in like every fucking mock, and I don't know why. Alright. Alrighty, guys. We are here for the battle. Week 4. Draft Jammin'. Versus Ducky. Pretty cool guy. Pretty chill guy. Really enjoyed chatting with him in the VC over the past couple weeks here. So, good luck to you, sir. Let's break down his team. Let's write it down, too. We've learned from our mistakes. We've learned from the errors of past weeks. So we know Moth is Terra Water. Don't like seeing the bee, because nobody brought the bee versus me in mocks. So that's quite concerning. We might have to adjust our game plan a bit. Okidogi will for sure be annoying, for sure. Okay, so probably playing a very Sticky Webs heavy game plan. Maybe like a Spec Zapdos, could be a more offensive Dragonite. Luckily we have the three boots, and we have one guy off the ground, so that doesn't matter too much. Trick might not be the best with Florges, but we can make it work. I'm going to lead off with Landorus. It's been my dedicated lead for the majority of my games, so good luck again to Ducky. Let's have a fun one, man. And we're going to be making notes of moves used, all types of shit. Also, we have to use the regular battle music today for this thing, because Next week I go out of town on vacation. I'm not gonna have a lot of time to edit things, so we need that convenience. All right, strike twice. So this is the lead I've been seeing and prepping for, so I'm pretty happy with this. Makes me wonder, right? So if you're not leading B, immediately I'm thinking that you just might be a late game setup set like Quiver Dance, or you could just be a really offensive set like a Choice Specs mid game, maybe Stun Spore, you know, something to disrupt. So turn 1 here, we're gonna go for the Rock Tomb. Should do some good damage to Zapdos. We're also gonna get some information. I also need to get my damage calc up. Now you guys are gonna be seeing my damage calc because I'm streaming to them. Ooh, very slow Zapdos. Okay, that's interesting, to say the least. I see a Hurricane come off. Just under 50. So I believe that's a defensive Zapdos. We can confirm that. Looking at the calc. Zapdos. Yeah, definitely a defensive Zapdos. So, like, very physically defensive. Dude, in the background, I'm hearing the stream of somebody else. Hold on, I gotta click out of this. This shit's distracting. All right, let me not be overstimulated. Let me control my senses here. So, defensive Zapdos. I like just getting out my rocks, I think. Rock Tomb was to cover for a faster, more offensive, like speedier Zapdos, so this is fine. Hurricane Dodge, I'm not gonna lie, you can't come into a game expecting to hit all those, so I'm quite fine with this exchange. I think now we're just really free to throw off Stone Edge. I'm also noticing right now no Sinistra, which is fascinating. So we're gonna go for a Stone Edge here. Beautiful connect, okay. He is gonna Hurricane again. That should be okay. We'll live that for sure. Very nice. I think no confusion, so we should be in a pretty good position. So having Zapdos so weak early on is really good for our game plan. It means that Ceruledge is going to have a lot easier of a time, right? Mana Buzz becomes a lot more annoying to handle defensively for his team. I think in this position, I just want to throw off another Rock Tomb, because anything that comes in will have a speed drop, unless it's Rabombi, but that would take like 80% from the Rock Tomb, so I wouldn't really care about that. Yeah, I think this is really good positioning. So let's just go for our Rock Tomb. It's more accurate than Stone Edge. He's in a bit of a tight spot, yeah. So getting rid of Zapdos immediately is amazing. So right now, the way my brain's kind of thinking, right, I had the Electric Terra Florges specifically for very offensive Zapdos, something like a Metal Sound set, something like a Choice Spec set. Now that that's not in play, it means that we don't really need to use our Terra on Florges. We can probably save it for the Ceruledge, so we have a stronger Poltergeist into his team. So we're going to see Gunk come in. It's going to be the Iron Moth, okay? We see no item. So this could be a handful of things. I'm considering, this is something I thought about like earlier this morning. This could be Meteor Beam. I hadn't played one in a mock, but let's see some things, right? So a regular Fiery Dance would knock us out. Oh, I'm sorry. Timid Fiery Dance is actually, we live a lot of rules, so Fiery Dance wouldn't get there. He'd have to Terra Water immediately on this thing. So what I'd like to do, I think I just like to give up Landorus, because there's also no Excadrill. So Landorus's usage is kind of, I think, fleeting into this endgame. I don't think it's too valuable. So I'd like to just go for an Earthquake. On the off chance he goes for a Fiery Dance and greeds and it doesn't knock us out, getting off Earthquake would be huge. Or if he goes for an Agility, right? So I'd like to just go for an Earthquake. We're going to get some information on this Iron Moth in this exchange. If he Terra Blast Waters right away, solid play. That's probably exactly what you should do, but I could see the Meteor Beam coming out. In which case, you know, I wasn't able to really do anything about that. So Terra Blast Water is going to come out. Okay. Going to knock out our Landorus. Fair play. So now I've got to consider how I want to navigate this, because the annoying thing is that if he is indeed Meteor Beam, then if I try to go for Poltergeist with Ceruledge, that won't work. However, if I can get the KO with close combat into Shadow Sneak, then that, I believe, is my play. The rolls look mostly favorable, but we still got 30 seconds, so let's take our time and let's consider carefully our options here. We could Terra Electric the Florges, and we could Trick this. We could also just raw Trick this in the first place. We would take a Sludge Wave, but we'd be weaker into Dragonite later on. How valuable is my Ceruledge? I don't think it's super valuable, so I think I'm going to make the play of Ceruledge here. Now, obviously, again, the reason I don't want to go for Poltergeist is because if this is a Meteor Beam set, it would obviously consume the item, and then we wouldn't be able to hit it with Poltergeist. But if he is that, I'm thinking you're speedy and you're max special attack because you need to get the jump on Kelby. Meaning you shouldn't have a lot of bulk, which means that close combat into Shadow Sneak should get us there. So I'm going to go ahead and Terra Ghost, and I'm going to go for a close combat. So we live any hit unboosted. We've got Flash Fire, so we're immune to Overheat, Fiery Dance, anything like that. This would just come down to rolls, but I have to make plays based on information that I have. So I'm going to do exactly just that. Let's see what happens here. This is a fun game so far. Very fast-paced, very direct. Terra Blast Water, okay. Is he potentially Specs? That does just under half to us. That's perfect. That's the range. That's the range we needed. So, Iron Moth, Terra Blast. Let's get some information. Let's also update our notes because we are responsible Wi-Fi Draft League players. Zapdos is dead. Moth has Terra'd. We know it has Terra Blast. And it just did under half to my Ceruledge, which is in line with it not being a boosting item. So we know that for sure, so it's not boosting. Could potentially be still that Meteor Beam. Could also be Heavy Duty Boots. That would make sense as well. Now, Shadow Sneak switch-ins would be Samurott, Ribombee. The thing is, I don't really feel like predicting in this position. Keeping this low is really nice. If I was to just close combat, then... And he goes Samurott. I mean, that'd be godlike, right? But I'm not going to predict. I don't think it's necessary. Alright, Shadow Sneak's going to come out. This should get the KO based on the damage rolls I'm seeing here. Very nice. Okay. Great positioning. Now, the nice thing here is that we have speed for Dragonite. So if Dragonite is the next Pokemon to enter, we have a pretty, I'd say pretty safe Will-O-Wisp into that slot, which should just cripple it and pretty much end all of its usefulness, which is nice. So... you need to be like Scarf Dragonite, which I don't think is a set. If you lock into a Dragon move, also, you just get revenged by Florges, or you take half because of multi-scale. So, he might also be Inner Focus, maybe, for Landorus. So, there's a lot of factors we don't know at this point in time. We're going to go ahead and knock off the Moth, close that out from our information. So, he's got Ribombee, Samurott, Dragonite, Okidogi. I expect Samurott to come in. It is going to be Samurott, okay. So, we've got Samurott, Ribombee, Dragonite, Okidogi left. Iron Moth is looking quite strong into the remainder here. The only thing that really effectively guards against it is the Okidogi if it's running an Assault Vest set. Questioning the validity, the entry points for our Chaladon, because, like, I think we would die to an offensive Ceaseless Edge into... Ceaseless Edge into Sacred Sword would most likely get us because it would ignore the stamina defense boost. Yeah, it would get us. So that's not really a good entry point. I like Health on Mandibuzz, though, specifically for the Dragonite, but I think it's also useful for this Pokemon as well to reposition and get in the Iron Bundle, which at that point has no switch-ins. So I'm going to go ahead and switch into Mandibuzz here. Saving Ceruledge is nice for the Shadow Sneak for low-health Dragonite. Getting a strong Poltergeist to Okidogi is nice as well. Sucker Punch. Okay, I'm fine with that, for sure. So, realistically, our safest play is just to go for a U-turn here. Most likely, we're going to see a Ceaseless Edge or a Aqua Cutter come out. I have a ton of negative IVs on this Mandibuzz for speed, so we should be underspeeding everything, even if he's, like, Brave min speed. So we're going to go for a U-turn here. Very safe play. Going to be a Ceaseless Edge. That's fine. We also know that this Samurott is not choiced, so that's good to know. Now, I'm going to see... Oh, I just realized you guys haven't been watching the battle. You guys have been watching that damage calc in the stream. My bad, guys. My bad. No! Ducky! You douche! No shot, bro. Ducky's on that Walmart Wi-Fi. Well, that is unfortunate. I guess we're going to have to stop the recording and see what was going on. And we'll be back when we have a resolution to this issue. Alrighty, Gloppers, we are back to the recreation of this battle. Unfortunate circumstance there with the Wi-Fi, but you know, these things happen. Life is not perfect. Communication technology is not perfect, so we're going to do our best. We're now back in the position we were originally... I'm going to laugh if he misses Caesar's Edge, though. That would be funny. Okay, he does hit. Good for him, right? So that did 43... That did 66 damage. Definitely like the calc that. If only he did one more point of damage, man. We could have sent it. Okay, so... Am I tripping? He did 66 damage, right? So that could be a max roll of Jolly, or it's just a really low roll of... Or like a mid roll of Adamant. So I actually don't have 100% information on this guy yet. Now, does Bundle kill max Spadef AV is what I need to see. If it's max, well, we know he can't be max because, what's it called? We know he's attack invested. He could be adamant though, so I don't want to be like too presumptuous. Is the problem? We do have a really free Moonblast actually with our good friend Florius. Now that I'm looking at the situation more clearly, I think that's our play. Because we know we're faster. So this is good, this is good. Alright, so we can just go for the Moonblast here. There's no resist at this point, so should be a good position for us. It's just Dragonite's bitch ass that I gotta worry about. Alright, Moonblast's gonna pick up a KO, let's go. Alfimi the Florgus. That's my goat. Looking very good for us. Samurott is down. Okay, one layer of spike up. One spike up. Not a big deal in the long run. Okie Goaty is in. Alright, well, this is where things get interesting now. So, I don't really need our Childon for anything. I also don't think that you go for a fighting move immediately. Even if you do, that's an entry point for Ceruledge, and I just go for a Poltergeist, and then I clean up with Bundle, I would think. Let's not get, like, too lost in the sauce, because realistically, I need to save Florgus Trick for the Rabombi to, like, 100% lock it up, more or less. Realistically, my least useful member is this Archaludon. So I'm going to go into it. I don't think I need this guy for anything. Get out Alt Ison. See what happens here. Gunk Shot? Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. Now, we're going to learn if he's choiced or not. Probably not. Now, here's the thing. If he, I want to play a little risky. I kind of want to risk my Ceruledge, because if I Draco Meteor here, I don't think he's going to expect a Jetpack, right? Draco connects. Oh my god. The gods are smiling on us. Critical hit. That means he's Assault Vest out the ass, for sure. The thing is, he could just be going for knockoff here. Would you really knock off in this position? That's kind of my question, right? Mandibuzz is like the safest play. Do I just instant lose if I lose Ceruledge? Probably not. Shadow Sneak is really nice for the B, though. It's very nice for the B. I wish I could just send fucking this guy back on the field and just die again. Health losing a Mandibuzz sucks for Dragonite big time. But I really can't ignore this B. This B could be a fucking threat. We're weighing our options. I need to save the Trick. I need to save the Scarf. I think I have tools for Dragonite. So, I don't want to risk anything. I think I will go Mandibuzz, and we'll reposition. I think that is the most responsible play to make. Even if I read his life there and I knew Drain Punch was coming out, it ain't worth it. It ain't fucking worth it, okay? I promise you. So what I need to see, because I know that that thing is Assault Vest based on the damage, what I would like to see is if Okidogi dies to the Poltergeist. It's a close roll, not really in our favor. The problem is that nothing directly threatens a KO on this thing. So I think we're just going to U-turn here. Ice Punch. That's a lot of damage. No freeze, though. Okay, so Mandibuzz at this point is nothing more than a sack. Poltergeist, if it's max HP, Dogi really should get there. That's 38 minimum. That really looks like 38% to me. So as long as I'm not Buns and I don't miss my move, we're good, right? Yeah, that's in range, for sure. Oh, I thought we missed, bro. My heart, like, sank in my chest. They gotta stop playing with me. Okay, huge. This is really good for us, because Ravambi can't knock us out. We can go for Poltergeist into Shadow Sneak, or maybe just Shadow Sneak 2x if that KOs. Dragonite comes in, gets burned on the spot. So this looks good. Allergies. The only way you KO me is if you're... Okay, Pointed Stones. You're like, dude, there's like no way you're not an item. Worst case, yeah, no, let's not trip. Let's not trip. You're obviously a fucking item. If you're Specs though, you would get the KO. So, is it ever correct to just sneak twice? Let's see Ravambi's bulk. I mean, 2 sneaks would always get there. Unless you're like max HP. But if you're max HP, then I just Poltergeist the next turn. Because if you're bulky, then your +1 Moonblast won't KO. So I think we're fine to just sneak. And that should be good for us. Very nice. Moonblast. Are you Specs indeed? No, you're not. Because Specs would have KO'd us for sure. So we sneak again. Dragonite comes in. We go for Will-O-Wisp. And I think that's game. Unless I've trolled myself and it's Lumberry Dragonite, we will get information, so let's pay attention. Let's really pay attention to what happens here. If it comes in and doesn't take rocks, that is a sign that we should maybe just Poltergeist initially. Does not take rocks, so it is heavy-duty boots, meaning that our burn will stick. So as long as we connect with our Will-O-Wisp here, I feel really good about our odds. Let's fucking go, dude. This Ceruledge put in overtime, man. Oh my god. This thing got off the goop nut. Like, actually insane work. Earthquake should knock us out. That's fine. I believe after burn damage, I think you're just in range of Bundle, buddy. I think it's Jover. I think this machine is going to clean it up. So let's get another kill for Bundle. Fuck yeah, dude. I could... Here's the thing. I could feed the kill to Florges. And you know what? That sounds really fun. I like Florges. Florges is a cool Pokemon. Iron Bundle, you got too much time in the spotlight, my friend. It is time for Alfimi to come in and do the dirty work. Because Scar Florges is a tough asset. I talked about this in my draft analysis. I said this Pokemon will probably never come to a game. But in those certain matchups where you got a very weak team, this guy's fucking Thanos. See what he goes for here. EQ. Pitiful damage, my friend. We're eating that up. And the burn will get it, so that's actually a kill for... You know what? That's fucked. That's a kill for Ceruledge. I'm like low-key kind of upset about that. But good games to Ducky, man. Thank you for being so flexible with scheduling and also for the reconnection. Really appreciate it, man. That was a super fun one. So that'll be another dubs in the book for us, guys. I will see you for week 5 of the Draft Jam. Until then, peace.